Hello everyone, welcome to today's masterclass, How to Design a Customer Experience. So really excited to kick into today's session. This is session 2 out of 3 in a series of masterclasses. So last week we talked about how to create a CX architecture diagram. This week we're going to talk about how to design a customer experience. And then next week, we're going to talk about how to build a roadmap and prioritize what to actually do first. For those that don't know me, my name is Robin Leonard. I'm the CEO and co-founder of AFDigital, 7 times Salesforce certified, recently got my non-profit cloud consultant cert, which I'm very proud of. My background before starting AFDigital, I was a business analyst at IBM, and then prior to that at Vodafone. So I've always been a business analyst in my career prior to doing this business. My personal interest, the future, business, transformation, and skateboarding. Yeah, so for those that don't know about my company, AFDigital are a Salesforce Gold consulting partner. We're also a Salesforce.org registered partner as well. And then we're really a multi-cloud partner, so we work across sales, service, marketing, and community cloud with a few other bits and pieces in there as well. Our main value proposition is really advisory service around your technology, customer experience, and marketing. We also help with transformational projects, rapidly implementing Salesforce sales, service, marketing, community cloud so that you can get value from them. And then we also have a service called TeamX. It's a hybrid managed service. The reason it's hybrid is it's one part marketing service like an agency, the other part it's technology. It's a professional service around Salesforce. So we're kind of the partner of the future. Great, so what we're going to learn today are how to ask the right questions. So what do you actually need to ask to help you do this job of designing a customer experience? We're going to help, we'll talk through how to define different customer lifetime or life cycle stages. Then we'll go through customer lifetime value, which I'm very passionate about. So we'll break down what customer lifetime value is and how to calculate it. Then we'll articulate the current state, customer experience, and design the art of the possible customer experience. So it's quite a lot to fit in. This is really the nuts and bolts of the customer experience, which is really great. Quite an exciting topic. I'm going to start with a bit of a recap from session 1. So it's really important we take that knowledge with us throughout this course. Then we're going to talk about customer lifetime value. Then we'll talk about actually just mapping out the customer experience. Great. So just a little reminder on what is a CX architecture diagram. On the left are the teams. These are your internal departments or teams or business units. In the middle is your tech stack. Then you've got your channels. This is how you engage with your customer. These are the touch points. And then on the far right, you've got the personas. These are your external customers or people that you have to talk to or communicate with. So this is what I call a CX architecture diagram. We're very fortunate because Paul Walton, who is the CEO and co-founder of Secret Bottle, which is a subscription wine service based in Australia. So, and it's got this kind of really cool aspect to it where you can actually buy or subscribe to samples and get to try wines from all across the country, all sorts of different types of wines to really, I guess, enhance your wine palate. And if there's something that you like, then you can also subscribe to the wine itself. So it's really quite a cool wine service, great for people at home that are passionate about wine, that want to really explore new flavors. I don't know about you, but I often go into an alcohol store and kind of just browse through the wines. I never really, know what to get, or, like there's ones that I know are good that I've tried before, then there's other ones I've got no idea, and it's just a bit of guesswork really. So this is kind of a service that helps advise you and educate you through that as well. So it's actually very cool. So Paul has done a really great job of setting up a customer experience that's automated and really quite modern. We're going to look through that, break it down, really understand what he's done, and then we're also going to give him a roadmap for the future. So special thanks to Paul. Anyone that's listening, please go and subscribe. Yeah, I think he'd really appreciate your feedback as well. Okay, great. So this is what we did last time. We really mapped out the customer experience, oh, sorry, the CX architecture by looking at the different elements of it. So we had personas on the left, tech stack, what are the different platforms and tools that his business uses, teams, what are those internal departments, channels, and pain points. So this was a kind of all on one page. And after that first kind of discussion with Paul, here's everything that we found out. And this is everything we need to help us understand what the CX architecture looks like. These personas were really, understanding who these people are is quite important. So if you look right in the middle, you've got Jane, who's the customer. She's your typical customer. And then we've got the data that we would have around her. So this is really, when we talk about a single customer view, this is how I think about it. So you've got Jane, and with Jane, you've got her name, phone, personal details. So this is really her personal information. We've got her transaction history. What has she bought? What has she subscribed in the past? Browse history. Where has she gone around your website? How has she engaged with your brand so far? What has her email engagement been like? Does she open your emails, your newsletters? Social engagement, is she engaging with your brand on social media or on your topic even? And then service history, has she complained before? Has she needed help before? So this really starts to form your single customer view. And this is really what you need to start thinking about is what other people are there external to your business that you need to consider. What does their experience look like? What data do you have on them as well? A lot of people don't really think of anyone outside of Jane, but in actual fact, there's recruitment candidates, people that maybe are graduates that are coming out of university and might be really great hires for that next role as Paul starts to grow his business. So you've got to think about what's that single candidate view look like. Maybe Paul, well, definitely Paul, he also has a lot of suppliers, through his kind of packaging and even the product itself. He buys off wineries, all of those things. He really has a single supplier view as well, or he should have a single supplier view. And then leads. So leads are like prospects. They haven't bought yet, but they may have attended an event, or he may have met them, or it could be anyone. And then finally, influencers. So influencers, more than ever, they're becoming quite important. Everyone knows that we need to deal with them. I've got a particular insight into how large brands are dealing with influencers, and also how agencies deal with them. So, but it's a very important point to note that they're also an external persona, and they're also a revenue generating one as well. So these are the personas that we figured out so far with Paul and Secret Bottle. Great, and so this is the CX architecture. So we designed this last week in that session. And just to recap, on the left, we've got management, sales, service, marketing, four major areas. Most companies have this structure or something similar. In the middle, we have some fulfillment software that he uses, Xero, connected to Stripe and Entreport on his website, WordPress, Shopify, Reamaze, connected to Reamaze. So if we break down the website a little bit, just a quick recap, Entreport handles his subscriptions. So if I were to subscribe to the product, Entreport would do that. Entreport is kind of it's got a lot of different features to it and capability, and that is what's connected with Stripe. Then we've got WordPress, which is his actual kind of domain name site. So that's where you go to find it in Google. Then he's got a Shopify tied to that. So for one-off purchases, he also has a Shopify. So that really is strong in e-commerce, whereas Entreport is more like I could build a subscription landing page and subscription service. So they're two very different systems. And then Reamaze is a customer service software. So this allows him to put chat, knowledge articles, those kind of things on his website. But in actual fact, Reamaze and Shopify and Entreport are not integrated. They're all standalone databases. WordPress also is a standalone CMS. Although it looks all connected, there's actually 3 domain names inside this website. But he's done such a great job at creating a seamless experience. It feels like you haven't left the site. Great. So then we've got Entreport down below, which is also, it's on his website, but he also uses it for his marketing as well. And he's got a 2-way SMS set up. So that's how he takes inbound orders. So as they subscribe to Secret Bottle, to the sampling size, to upgrade, you'd actually SMS or chat wine. And that will come in and will allow him to reorder, or you can just contact them as well. And then Yotpo as well as a survey and testimonial tool. So he's just using that at the moment for surveys and looking to publish that soon on the website. So this is kind of how we go. And then we've got all of the different people. And to be honest, he's really just focused on the B2C customer, but he could really look into exploring the other ones. But it's really just the focus is the customer. So this is the current state CX architecture. What we also do generally is we also try to look into the future. And as a Salesforce consulting partner, usually that future involves Salesforce. So what I like to do is say, okay, if you were to just do this on Salesforce, how would you do that? How would you do your business? And it's really just a matter of kind of removing a lot of the complexity and just putting Salesforce in the middle. Salesforce is really one large platform that has a lot of different parts to it that can do various aspects of your business. We've got sales, service, marketing, and social, which be probably the right tools for him to start. And Community Cloud as well for a kind of login experience. Store Connect, which is it's a ISV product. It's like a Salesforce app that you can get. It's a third-party app. But that allows you to have a really rich e-commerce experience supporting B2B, B2C, as well as subscriptions and a lot of various other things. And your automation would sit inside Salesforce. With Salesforce, I think the benefits are you can really do everything you really want to in terms of omni-channel service, sales, and also marketing as well. It's all kind of one beast. And you can bring everything into it. So you can integrate some of these other systems and really start to build one single view of a customer, including everything from financials. Like this becomes your business software. Great. So that's the CX architecture. And this is really where we pause a little bit on CX architecture. And we have to go, okay, well, we've looked at today. We know what today is. We know what our future could look like tomorrow, maybe. We don't know. We don't know if this is the right fit for him. We're just assuming. So what we really need to do now is kind of focus on the challenges and build goals and then try to solve those. So really at the kind of end of the day, his major challenges he articulated were acquisition efficiency, revenue. He would like to make more revenue. I think all of us would. And also having just many disconnected systems. In terms of goals, the way I structure goals is I match them. So you say, if I've got a challenge, acquisition efficiency, then my goal would be optimize cost per acquisition. So kind of if you can summarize your top 3 issues, then solve them with goals. It's kind of a simple way I like to think about this. Revenue. What do I do about the revenue? Is I increase customer lifetime value. And we'll talk about customer lifetime value in a second, but that's one issue that Paul has is that he gets someone on average for about 10 months subscribing, and then they attrit. So that's an average. Some spend a lot more, some buy a lot, but that's the average, is that they just attrit. So if we can try to increase that, that will inherently increase revenue. And then finally, many disconnected systems. So build a single customer view. It's a very simple answer to that one, but it would just be to centralize it somewhere and have one single view. Great. So let's talk about customer lifetime value. So why are these organizations like Twitter and Uber, why are they so valuable if they aren't that profitable? You know, if you look at them with a traditional valuation lens, it just doesn't really make sense to the average person. There is a guy, this legend, Daniel McCarthy, Dr. Daniel McCarthy. He's a marketing professor from Wharton originally. He did his PhD there and then was a professor. He really focuses on customer lifetime value and how to value a corporation based on that. And he's really got this great he's actually proven it to be true, and he beat Wall Street analysts in their own game. So the way they value companies historically, he's kind of got a new method. And it's relatively new. It's like maybe 4 or 5 years ago this has come out, but it's quite revolutionary in terms of like how M&A will start happening. I've interviewed this guy on my podcast, The Modernization, on Spotify. So yeah, please check it out. It's a really amazing interview where he really goes into detail about what customer lifetime value is and why it's important and how to work with it. Very simply, we used to value a firm based on its assets and debt. Now we start to consider customers and customer data as part of those assets. And the reason we do that is because as you have customers that start to buy your product, there's actually a whole lifetime. And we can expect that they will buy it more than once. So you typically have a customer that buys the first time and then they renew, and then eventually churn. And you'd have so many customers going through, it's relatively straightforward to measure that. Like you can measure it, you can build averages, and you can start to say, okay, well, this is what I can expect based on the amount of customers currently going through this process. So the way to calculate customer lifetime value, and there are several ways. This isn't the truest way. This is the simplest way. The truest way is to actually look at the profit margin as well, but I'm not going to do that here. So what we really look at are 4 different metrics. So transaction frequency per year, average transaction value, average customer tenure, and cost of acquisition. So those 4 things make customer lifetime value. Transaction frequency per year, 12. So it's a subscription. Obviously, there's 12. Average value is $35. That's kind of the average subscription for the sampler wine kit. Average customer tenure, 0.83 years. So this is really what Paul was saying, is that it's about 10 months that someone stays with them, and then they attrit. And then cost of acquisition, about $50 per customer. This one is a little bit of a hard number to figure out. The reason it's hard is because you know, when it's a startup and you don't have a lot of volume, it's hard to put an actual number on this. There is a rule of thumb that you should spend about 1/3 of your lifetime value on acquisition. So if we calculate this out, customer lifetime value equals frequency times value times tenure minus acquisition cost. So that's 12 times 35 times 80.83 minus 50, which is 298. So every time Paul gets one customer, that's worth about $300 to him, right? In terms of revenue. Where you could go one step further is if you look at the pure profitability, and that's really, you know, the truest sense of lifetime value. And as I mentioned before, best rule of thumb, if you ask Google, it's 33% or less to acquire a customer. So for Paul, he can probably spend about $100 in reality to acquire a customer. So this is really important because as you look at a customer funnel, so we've got impressions, web visitor, subscribers, customers. This is a typical marketing funnel. It's just the top of the funnel. But if we use this number to pivot around, this lifetime value number, it's about $300. If we know that 5% of our email subscribers convert to paying customers, then we know that it's about $14.93 per subscriber. So this is really, you can derive the whole value of your entire funnel by leveraging this lifetime value number. So 5% of your customers' subscribers, $15. And then if I were to say, okay, well, what about my web visitors converting into subscribers? Paul's got a really great downloadable ebook on his website. So, and he gets those subscribers. So that means that your web visitor is worth 2% of your subscriber value. So it's worth 30 cents per web visitor. That's what the value is if you have this funnel operating. And you've also got ad impressions. So you could also say, what if 1% of people that see my ads visited my website, and then 2% of those people became subscribers, 5% of those people became customers. So that values your ad. That would be 1% of 30 cents, which is, I think, 3 cents or 0.3 cents. So that's the key, is to understand this different funnel and what are those conversions between them. So I've got two levers, and this is really key to understand. My two levers are my lifetime value. So if I do upsell, cross-sell, if I do re-engagement campaigns, if I do birthday offers, those kind of activities are going to increase this because they're going to buy more on average. So what if I could get that up to, say, $600 and everything stays the same? This is still 5%, this is still 2%. It means the value of my subscribers actually doubled as well. 5% of $600 is $30. So your lever is your lifetime value. That increases the value of all of your marketing activities, all of the data you're capturing. That is increasing the value of that. Equally, the other lever you have is the ratio of conversion. So this is really where it's exciting, is if I can increase the percentage of people that see my ads, that increases my the value of my ad impression. It makes my whole marketing operation more efficient. So let's say I increase this to 10% of subscribers convert to customers. That actually, sorry, if I say 2% of my visitors convert to subscribers. So if I increase that to 4%, it still remains $14.93, right? But this price goes up, this value goes up to double. So that's 60% per website visitor, if that's 4%. So it actually increases the value of the activity up the chain because you're more optimal about how you convert. And really looking at how to increase those things is to look at, like, what's your website conversion look like? Like, how focused are you on converting on that page, on those pages? How awesome is your email marketing? Like, are you converting subscribers into customers regularly? Is it a revenue source for you? So these are really the things to look at. In terms of customer lifetime value, it just helps you measure the different aspects of the funnel. In Paul's case, so Paul, he actually, it was quite interesting. He does have a subscriber database, and he does occasionally do email marketing. He does have a welcome journey, but he doesn't do it regularly enough or focused enough that it's really converting anyone into customers. So he's actually out of this 298, his value of his subscribers is a lot lower because he's not converting. He's not actively using that as a channel. What he has got is he's got really great web traffic, 45% organic search. So half of the people that go to his website every month are just looking for it naturally, and they find it. And then out of that, 1.7% convert. So last month he had 38 people convert into paying customers. Each of those customers is worth $300 revenue to him, remember? And that's half of those people are free. So that's really interesting, and that he's got this kind of relationship between his website and his customers. Um, what he doesn't have is he's not converting his subscribers into customers. So that's kind of a missed opportunity. It's probably also an opportunity for him is to upgrade his customers. You know, maybe he needs 2 levels of customer where it's like you're a sample subscriber to a a high paying subscriber, because that's he's got to graduate more customers to that, and that will increase his lifetime value. Great. So that's customer lifetime value. So that's how that works, and it is a little bit tricky to get your head around, but it's really like the whole value of data is becoming quite real and quite hard, and it's all tied to the customer experience. There's levers. Once you understand the levers, then you can really do your job marketing and measuring. Great. Okay, so let's talk about mapping the customer experience. Okay, so this is a template, and this is what I would use generally when I'm consulting with clients to come in and understand what their current state is and what their future state might look like. The life cycle stages are flexible, and this is really kind of, I guess, a consulting exercise to talk to your clients and understand what does their life cycle look like. So we're just gonna go in and edit this. Great. So yeah, actually, so what I've done with Paul. Okay, so we've actually gone through and kind of done the current state already. If you can see the difference here, I've got one more or 2 more stages here that I didn't have in the previous version. So he was like, look, we've got a very clear stage of canceling. The cancel process is quite different to the reorder process. It's very unique. They have to speak to us. We have to manually cancel them. And so that was like, okay, I was like, okay, great. Let's add a life cycle phase there. And then for customer service, all the way through, it's really important to provide customer service because things go wrong, and so that was a really important feature for him. So we've added on kind of an area here, customer service. Aside from that, we went through together and looked at his whole customer experience as it is today. So across these different stages, find, evaluate, order, deliver, reorder, it's a fairly normal e-commerce life cycle. Find, he had word of mouth, web SEO, that was doing really well, 45%. Social ads, blog, events, and with ads, it was a bit of paid and a bit of search, social, and display. Blog, events. Okay, cool. So that was about all he was doing, which is normal. And then evaluate, naturally, some Google reviews, Facebook reviews, his website, which has a lot of information around reviewing wine and stuff like that to make them look credible. Ebook download as well. He's got an ebook download on the site, and subscribe to blog. Then when you get into ordering, so you can go to the e-commerce store, there's a shopping cart, subscription, thank you email, and 2x welcome email. So once you actually do subscribe or purchase, there is an automation there for that. Then there's a courier delivery, it's monthly on the same date. There are replacements if the breakages. There's no refunds if they're dissatisfied, which is normal. There are some delivery notifications by email and SMS. Then he's got some infrequent newsletters that he does, and then generally SMS, chat, phone, to kind of talk to his customers, and one-time purchase upgrade. So you can do that on the e-commerce side as well. And then canceling by phone, email, chat is the only way to cancel. So this is the current experience. Let's just have a quick look at the website. Great. So this is his website. And as I mentioned, he talks about this wine tasting subscription box. This is actually what it looks like. It's really nice. They come in these tubes. It's very elegant. Yeah, and the whole idea is really around kind of learning new wines, trying new wines. Once you find a wine that you really love, you can buy more of it. Yeah, and he's got a social kind of thing here, B1G1. Here's some testimonials. So you can either subscribe to tastings or bottles. And this is kind of generally the what you'd sign up for. So if I click to get started, this is actually going to take me to Entreport. So if I look at the URL, it's join.secretbottle.com. And then I go through the process and sign up. Got some great trust signals here. And then a few add-ons, etc. It probably won't work. Yeah, so after you do this, I've gone through this process and actually tried it all out. After you go through this, it's got another little upsell, and then that's it. And then I wait for my order. So that's quite cool. Let's just go back. So you can see here I've actually navigated off Secret Bottle. This is the WordPress site. That was the Entreport site. Let's just go back up. Okay, we've got a little chat in the bottom right. So this is a okay. Yeah, this chat is through oh, what is it called? I've lost the name. Let me just have a look back. The CX architecture is really great because it keeps everyone on the same page. You know, there's no kind of a mystery once it's documented in this way. Prior to this, it's very hard. If you were like, hey, Paul, what systems to use? He'd be like, oh, I'll just tell you about all 15 of them. You know, so yeah, Reamaze is the name of that tool. So that's what he's got on the website. This is a Reamaze feature. You can see here, oh, I should have just looked here. We run on Reamaze. I probably shouldn't message him. Yeah, so that's that. And as I can navigate around Tasting Club gift subscriptions, this takes me to his Shopify. So you can see here he's got mysecretbottle.club. It looks the same as the website, but it's actually a little bit different. And see here he's got like different variants. I can add to my cart, and see my cart here is there because it's really a Shopify cart, a little bit different to the Entreport subscription menu. So yeah, so this is it. I think the purpose of this one is so he can sell it to other people. Yeah, so let's just go back. So this is really the customer experience. If I were to design the future, so this is really articulated the current state. If I was to design the future, I'd simply take the current state and I would just throw it down the bottom. Okay, great. And then it's just a matter of adding onto it. So in terms of finding, if I were to brainstorm, and this is like maybe what you do after having a whiskey, something like that, is get creative. Like, what else can I do? So maybe maybe press stunt. Maybe I do a influencer program. Maybe I do something around guest posts, guest blogging, similar to influencers. So the way I do this is I just map out the future as blue. So you can start to build up your kind of like your current and future all in one page, keeping it simple. Like you can go to Deloitte and they'll charge you $1 million for a customer experience designer. But really it's just about thinking, what does the future look like here? You know, what do my competitors do at each of these stages? So right now, Paul actually has a really great ebook on his website. Let's just have a look. Just go back. I think it's in his blog section. Yeah, so and having these kind of things are really great because they do drive downloads. Okay, great. And I see he's got some really great blogs up here. Also has quite a good amount on YouTube. Okay, cool. So he's got a wine club, so you can join up for the wine club. Okay, that's just going to buy, and then yeah, this is the one. Download your free ebook guide, Robin Leonard, Robin at AFDigital.com. So that will send me an email with a link, I believe, to download that ebook, and then I go into a journey with that as well. So that's actually a really cool cool thing. Okay, and then upsell opportunity. Good job. Cool. And then it's yeah, and then I click through and buy. So he's really kind of built it out. So it's a good experience. It's driving traffic to the right place. I really love the ebook download. So what I'd maybe do in addition is say if I've got somebody's email address, I definitely want to do a wine survey to find out their preferences, maybe like with gift or something like that. Maybe a sample actually, you know, just to get something out of them, to give them some value. Maybe there's like a wine preferences report that you could produce as a result of that. And maybe this is something you could do every year, is just do some kind of like Gartner report, you know. So naturally newsletters, and at this point, I'm assuming that we've got the email address. You know, so maybe they've gone in here, they've subscribed, they've done the ebook download. So we definitely want to start newslettering them here, and also campaigns. I know campaigns aren't necessarily fully automated, but you need a campaign to be always, you need multiple campaigns always going all year round. You should have always on campaigns, and then you should have kind of seasonal campaigns depending on the time of year, depending on what it is, like back to school, post-COVID reopening campaign, you know, send your coworker a gift of wine campaign, you know, or let's do a team wine sampling event campaign. So really campaigns are, you know, those things that should just happen all year round, and they should be driving conversion of these people that are in your database into orders, into people that are like, yes, I want to buy, yes, sign me up. So that's what I'd have a look at. And then in terms of ordering, so he's got a pretty good process. I'd probably have an onboarding journey as well, maybe some progressive profiling. So progressive profiling is where you kind of learn over time about them. You don't blast them with one big long survey. You just ask them a couple of questions here and there, and over time you start to gather all of that information. Okay, what else would you do? Naturally, wine surveys. So if they receive an order, I want to find out how it was, like how did it taste, like rate it. You know, what did you think about it? How did it? What flavors did it? You know, pull up. I don't know. So the other thing I'd look at is trust signals. He has really great trust signals, but you can always improve them. Wine education emails as well. So, you know, like as you find the preferences, as they start to click on more reds or order more reds, then that's really where you want to give them education. You know, what did they just try out? You know, can you give them a journey around that? And then actual email journeys that are evergreen. So, and this is really interesting because wine is such a rich topic. You know, if you find out that somebody is interested in wine from a certain region, then put them into a journey of content about that region, because there's so many things to talk about with one region and wine. So yeah, like evergreen journeys are a really great way to keep those people engaged. They'll just keep buying, you know, because you're so front of mind. Great. Okay, so in terms of delivery, so what else can we do here? I think a thank you survey. You could up the amount of delivery notifications. I think a waiting countdown email or something like that. Because as I mentioned before, it actually delivers monthly on the same date. And it's just not really logistically possible to do it differently for his business. So he's got this constraint. The problem is if you do the order, you know, like right after the cutoff, then you miss out and you have to wait like 3 or 4 weeks until the actual order. So maybe there needs to be actually maybe there needs to be a cut off countdown on website. I think with the countdown though, you have the issue of, oh, well, I'm not close to the cutoff, so I don't need to do it now. There's no urgency. But maybe there's a way of doing a discount, like an early bird every month. Early bird discount. I'm getting a bit crazy. Like you could do anything around this. And even like a drip campaign, like you've got 2 days left to order, you know, you missed out, don't miss out this month. We've got these great wines coming up. What if there's visibility over the wines? If I haven't ordered yet, you know, you get insider privy access to that. Okay, cool. So the other thing as well is probably just with service. Yeah, actually, I'll get to service next. Okay, let's go to reorder. So I think I would change this to frequent newsletters. The frequency of your newsletters, it shouldn't be too much, to be honest. Like it shouldn't be more than once a month, but you may have lots of campaigns within that. So I would keep them to say monthly, but I would have more frequent stuff that's campaign based, more targeted. Yeah. So, and then SMS, chat, phone for reordering, email one-time purchase, upgrade. So I think what I would do is do that's one thing. Okay, I would do upsell, cross-sell journey. So anyone that's kind of recently bought this week, I would send them an email and say, hey, thanks for buying this week. Would you like to also get a blah, blah, blah? Like give them an offer. I would do an upgrade journey to upgrade from sampler to full one. And this would be so easy because you could be like, if you did the thank you survey, I mean, it should be like a wine feedback survey. So let's say I get my my little sample and I really loved one of the wines. If I was somehow incentivized to give feedback on that wine, then give me an offer to buy it. Like I'd love to buy that wine immediately. If I say it's a 5 out of 5, then offer it to me at a discounted rate or whatever, and then I will buy it. Like high chance. Okay, so I think that's the key is that wine feedback survey. Upgrade wine journey, upgrade from sampler to full wine based on feedback. Okay, what else is there? Okay, I think something he mentioned he'd like to do is a lot more video guides around like wine tasting. and the different types of wines. So having that content to really guide the people through, I think would be really good as well. Educational content through blog, through social, wine product data around the actual wines that they're tasting, like where is it from, what is the fact about the data. And then I think, like with all of this data and information about wines, it would be great to have a wine analytics service, or like the Gartner of wines. Why can't you have a ranking of top wines, like national ranking, the secret bottle list, the secret bottle Australia list, national ranking list. Anyway, so something like that I think would be a good idea. Okay, let's change this color. All right, and then finally cancel. So yes, you should be able to do those. You should also probably be able to skip a month or pause. And I should definitely be able to self-service the pause or cancellation, either by web or bot, or form. Yeah, the same as web. Yeah, yeah. I think also this is something Paul mentioned he'd like to start doing as an exit survey, and a re-engagement journey after they've exited to see if they'd like to come back. Re-engage journey. Great. And here we go, ladies and gentlemen. So this is really, this is how I'd go through the process very quickly of doing this customer experience design. Like firstly, you need to understand what that customer acquisition process is, what's the customer lifetime value. Then mapping the experience, going through the current state, and you need to do this with the client, with the person that knows what's going on. And you can do this on a whiteboard or, post-it notes. Those kind of things are really good. It's a nice visual way of doing it. Personally, for me, I feel like you can just type it out in about 10 minutes and then you're good. You don't need to overthink it or, be too dramatic about it. It's a very simple journey. I think one thing that's important to note is this is a customer journey. This is not the same as the supplier journey. It's not the same as the influencer journey. It's not the same as the candidate's journey. So every single different persona has a different journey. They have a current state and they have a potential future state. Yeah, so this is experience design. Like this is what experience designers do. They think through this, and it's really the same as a BA, a business analyst. It's the same job. You go through and you're like, what does it currently do? How does it work? How do I articulate it so that other people can understand it? And then how do I imagine the future in a cool way? Maybe these are just not all immediate ideas. Maybe some of them are long-term ideas. But nonetheless, you've got a future state designed. When somebody says, what would you like to improve? You're like, I don't know. Instead, you're like, oh, I've got a million things I want to iterate about this journey, this experience. And that's really the key to, I think, marketing of the future. Is it's about iteration. You can't expect to build Rome in a day. And experience is very much like Rome. It takes years of work and refinement and crafting. And the sooner we start crafting these journeys and these experiences, the sooner that we will have that beautiful Rome experience. Great. So that's about all we've got for today. Great. Thank you very much.